winning every time. Nothing but wins. Nothing but wins. Hello, it's me, in case you thought it was anyone else. I'm filming this after I already filmed the entire video because I realized that I didn't give a proper intro to where I didn't tell you the synopsis of I'm still not giving you a proper intro. Okay, hi. Today I'm rereading / reading the new book from the Simon Snow trilogy by Rainbow Rowell. I'm gonna be doing this video is gonna be split into parts. So first I'm gonna give you the synopsis of Carry On, so you kind of know what's going on in case you haven't read any of the books. Then the second part is just going to be me vlogging my entire process of rereading the first two books and then finishing off with Any Way the Wind Blows. And the last part is going to be my very geniusly crafted academic review in Google Docs that to kind of wrap up my final thoughts on the series and give my ratings and everything. So yeah. Carry On is the expansion of the meta fanfiction story written by the main character in Rainbow Rowell's 2013 novel Fangirl. So in the Fangirl universe, the Simon Snow books are a children's series of 8 books about young students studying at a private school for magicians. Sound familiar? The protagonist, Kath, posts a fanfiction work titled Carry On Simon in this universe's version of fanfiction.net, in which the character Simon and his arch nemesis Baz fall in love. Fangirl features various snippets from Kath's fanfic, and after publishing Fangirl, Rainbow Rowell said that she enjoyed writing about Simon and Baz so much that she gave them their own book. That's what the 2015 novel Carry On is. Now, it may have started as a Harry Potter parody, but Carry On really took its own path to become an original standalone series of itself. Honestly, it's not that similar to Harry Potter at all, although when I recommend it to people, I still call it a more mature, gayer version of Harry Potter. So, Carry On follows Simon Snow's last year at the Watford School of Magics, while he, the greatest mage the world of mages has ever seen, battles the insidious Humdrum, the greatest threat the world of mages has ever faced. It's a whole prophecy thing, very interesting. While also dealing with his arch nemesis, secret vampire roommate, Tyrannus Basildon Grimpitch, and uncovering the dark secrets buried beneath Watford's history. So, there's my very geniusly crafted synopsis of Carry On. Yeah, it's a fun YA fantasy with so many things happening that are just a great time, you know? Yeah, so on to the vlog. I'll see you at the end of the video. I am 100% recording this on impulse, so bear with me here. So today, currently in a state of shock. So today, and maybe for the next days, I want to reread the Simon Snow series. Because a few minutes ago, this came in to my mail, which is the final installment of the Simon Snow trilogy. So, you know, I kind of forgot that this book was coming out until about 3 days ago when I got the email that month, because I pre-ordered this book months ago. And so I didn't realize it was coming out until I got the email from Barnes & Noble that was your billing summary, and I was like, who is buying stuff from my Barnes & Noble account? Then I looked at it and I was like, it comes out. Any Way the Wind Blows is coming out, and it's coming to my house, and now it's here, and I need to read it. Or maybe I should I hope this is the whole you know so I want to reread the entire series, mainly because I want to reread Wayward Son, because I've only read this one once because I didn't like it. So I feel like if I'm gonna just jump, I can't just jump into Any Way the Wind Blows, because then I'm gonna be confused and I'm gonna be having to like jog my memory, because I read this like 2 years ago. Except I don't like Wayward Son, so I want to read Carry On, because this one's my favorite, obviously, because this book is actually like a masterpiece and it's so enjoyable. I remember everything that happens in this book because I've read it so many times, but I still want to reread it so that I get into the, you know, the Simon Snow mindset, so that I can be prepared for this. I have like on purpose not read the synopsis to Any Way the Wind Blows because I just kind of want to jump in. Okay, yeah, never mind. Any Way the Wind Blows is longer than Carry On. It's almost 600 pages, which really makes me feel good. That is a reassurance, because there's a whole lot of things that need to be done to wrap this series up. Very excited. I just want to show you guys these little end papers. They're so soft. They're so soft. And I don't know who this is, but I'm excited to find out. I got this hot. Okay. We're starting with Carry On. And, you know, I have to read Carry On in a British accent. It's just how it is. I walk to the bus station by myself. There's always a fuss over my paperwork when I leave. All summer long when I don't know, Penelope said when I asked her how magic feels for her. I suppose it feels like a well inside me, so deep that I can't see or even imagine the bottom. But instead of sending down buckets, I just think about drawing it up. And then it's there for me, as much as I need, as long as I stay focused. Penelope always stays focused. Plus, she's powerful. Agatha isn't. Not as, anyway. Page 150. Baz has arrived. The man of the hour has arrived. Now things get interesting. No, I'm kidding. I really like the beginning of the book. I love rereading this book every time. It just brings me joy, and I find new things every single time. Like new things that I'm like, that's foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing for the future. It's unnecessarily grandiose to use an open sesame on the doors, but I do it anyway because I know everyone will be in the dining hall and I may as well make an entrance. Good morning. It's morning. Yeah, so we're getting back into it. I'm halfway through Carry On, and yeah, it's as good as I remember. Yeah, it's just as good as I remember. Also, Agatha, a character that when I first read this book, I hated Agatha's guts when I was younger, and it was strange. I really hated her for no reason. Internalized misogyny, perhaps. Reading her chapters now that I like have a brain that's like developed, is so much greater, because I'm like, I totally understand what she's saying. I mean, she is really stuck up, and that is still like annoying sometimes, but she's like a teenage girl, so like that's totally understood. It really shows how Agatha doesn't even see herself as a person. She kind of just sees herself as an accessory to whoever her boyfriend is, which is like, that's like deep. The most interesting part of this like book is the mage and his character, and how he has like a goal, and you don't really know what the goal is until like the end of the book, and then during the rereads you can kind of see everywhere he went wrong, like how he ended up in the position that he is now. And it's like, wow, initially he had good intentions, he just kind of made some really big mistakes along the way, and kind of drove himself mad thinking about revolution instead of, you know, caring about the people in his life. Ugh, it's just, I love it so much. Okay, I need to keep reading.
We need normals alive and they need them dead, but invading Watford, that was an act of war. And it was the first real attack by the Humdrum too.
But you know,
I love everything about this book. I can't think of anything I don't like. Like, the only thing that I don't like is probably the way that the other species are treated, like the goblins and the numpties. Like, I don't know, it makes me feel weird the way they're treated compared to like the mages and the normals. But that's kind of a problem with all fantasy, so, you know, I can't be expecting very high. But yeah, everything else about this book is absolutely amazing. And there are so many things that happen at the end of this book that like are unanswered, and that I thought were going to be addressed, or at least further explored in Wayward Son, but then like aren't. So I guess maybe they'll come back in Any Way the Wind Blows. Another duo that I really like is Baz and Penelope. The way their friendship is literally so funny. because like it comes like as a surprise. You wouldn't really think that Penelope and Baz would get along, but they get along so well, like BFFLs, and it's great. I have a deeper appreciation for Agatha and Penelope, you know, the two girls. Rainbow Rowell did a really good job of just, her story is about a male hero, but she still finds a way to put in some girl power, you know. Agatha and Penelope, they deal with the misogyny. They deal with misogyny, like it doesn't just not exist in this world. They do experience it, and they both deal with it in very different ways. Then I guess it's time for Wayward Son. Oh yeah, this one has a little crescent moon on it, and these end papers are just beautiful. Like, look at that! Stunning! Stunning! That's why I love this edition. That's so emo. Literally the first page, the epilogue is so emo. And I'm kind of obsessed. But look at my baby. Sun Snow's lying on the sofa. Sun Snow's pretty much always lying on the sofa these days. I can do this. I can do this. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I want to vomit. This book is so corny. Just in how they talk about America, and what makes it cornier is that it's written by an American author. So like, she's just writing these British characters being shocked that America is so the United States, you know? And it gets old after like 5 pages, and we're 58 pages in, and I'm already tired of the, oh, they do this in America. And I feel bad for Penelope, but not really. Actually, I don't feel bad for Penelope. I just feel embarrassed for her. Like, I don't feel bad for Penelope at all. Maybe that's the problem. I don't feel bad for Penny at all. I just feel embarrassed. Okay, my updates. I just finished the second part. My motivation is dwindling fast. And I love what Rainbow Rowell is doing with Simon and Baz in this book, because I think it's smart and it's mature, okay? But everything else is dumb. Everything else is dumb, because the 3 of them, Simon, Baz, and Penelope, have a body count at this point. A body count that is above 10. And I don't mean like sexual, I mean murderous. Like, they could be classified as serial killers at this point. Like, I can only suspend my disbelief so far, okay? And the other thing, the battles, okay? The battles in Carry On were so cool. You know, they had you invested, they had you on the edge of your seat, like what was gonna happen next, you know? But the little trio just got in a battle at a Renaissance fair. There is nothing badass about a battle at a Renaissance fair. Okay? Simon is throwing around plastic foam swords. That is not badass. And I don't want to read about it. Okay, I'm starting to like Agatha more than Penelope, and that is a bad thing. That is not a good sign, because I used to hate Agatha, and now I like her more than Penelope. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break, and I'll get back to it later tonight. Okay? What the? Also, Shepard is growing on me. I did not like him the first time around, but I value his perspective very much. He really is growing on me. I can understand why he's there. He brings up a lot of good points that I mentioned in Carry On.
I didn't tell him. I never told him. Not in a way that he believed. Not in a way that he could let in and hold on to. Everything he was to me. He was everything. You were the sun and I was crashing into you. I'd wake up every morning and tell myself, I finished it, finally. That means I can, okay, hold off my excitement. Okay, so, Wayward Son is better than I remembered it. I am so happy I get to say that. It is better the second time around. I do not like the first third of the book. I dislike it a lot. There are plenty of parts in the first half of the book that I do enjoy, but the 2/3, you know, like from this point on, is pretty good. Okay, and I like what is happening. If you remember, when I finished Carry On, I said that the only problem I have with Carry On is I don't like how the world of mages treats other species. I don't like how they treat the vampires and the goblins and even the normals, you know? They treat them like they're like idiots, like they're second class, like they're not, like they're, what's the word? Inferiority. Okay. Yes. They act like, the mages act like other species are inferior to them, and I really don't like that. Maybe that just makes me a pacifist, because I love equality so much, and I want a perfect world where everyone is happy and nobody is better than anybody else. But yeah, that was the only problem I had with Carry On. And the idea appears in Wayward Son, which is amazing, because I never noticed that the first time I read this book, but I noticed it this time because Shepard, the new character that I didn't like the first time I read this book, but now I really, really like him because he is fascinated by the supernatural world and all these creatures and everything, but he sees them like his friends, you know, he has friends from all across the country or whatever, supernatural friends, and he just walks around and listens to their stories. And Shepherd is such a good not parallel, but such a good opposite for Penelope, because surprisingly, Penelope is the one who is so stuck in her mind that mages are good and everybody else is bad and evil, you know, and that mages are the smartest and they know what's best for the world, and everybody else is just stupid. Whereas Shepherd sees everyone for their own like person and sees everyone for as their own like value. And I really like that. I don't know what dichotomy means, but I'm gonna use the word dichotomy. Wow. The fight scene at the end, epic. Oh my god, epic. You remember me talking about how the Renaissance Fair's fights, they were terrible fights, they were not engaging at all, but the fight at the end of the book is amazing. Bro, I was at the edge of my seat, even though I knew how it ended. It was great. I have it right here, and I can just start reading it. I don't know what this book is about. I swear to you, I don't know what this book is about. I have not read the synopsis. Now, like, it's like 1 a.m. and I planned to go to sleep, but like, I am boiling over with excitement. Okay, let's take off the sleeve. Look at how beautiful this book is. It looks like a Bible. There's a candle in my window, sputtering, sizzling, threatening to go out. And my husband and my own children. Winning every time. Nothing but wins. Yes. I'm so glad. I am so glad that I reread those other 2 books. So glad, because I know exactly what's going on. And it's amazing. Yes. Oh, I can't. It's too late. Okay. We're gonna continue this tomorrow. I'm literally exploding. I need to like calm down. Too much adrenaline. Okay.
David Okay. David Cadwallader. Well, Dr. Wellblow said straightening the papers. That may be true, but legally it's irrelevant.
Okay, so change of plans. I picked up someone's shift, so now I'm going to work. But I've read about 30 pages of Anyway the Wind Blows, and I am thoroughly enjoying myself. You covered in dust, honey.
Hi. Update. I have not updated you in a while. And I will be straight talk wireless with you. It's because I don't want it to be over. I am postponing
finishing this book because I don't want it to be over. Y'all, it's so good. Anyway, The Wind Blows is so good. And it is filling me with only good emotions. And I'm obsessed. And I'm stuck, you know, in my mind between this dilemma. It's like I need to stop reading because I don't want it to be over too fast. And I need to keep reading because I need to know what happens next. I'm like stuck in that spot. And I'll read like 15 pages and then I'll like leave for like a good 5 hours and then I'll come back to it. And I'm like 2/3 through the book right now, and it's at its peak, you know. It is my dilemma is at its peak. I keep picking it up and putting it back down because it's like I need to know what happens next. I'm having so much fun with these characters, but also I don't want it to be over, okay? Like I don't want it to be over. I don't want to be done. Shepherd has made my life. I'm obsessed with Shepherd at this point, and Penelope has made a comeback. She is alright in my book again. I was annoyed by her before, but now, now, everything is good in the world. And I'm in love with Penny and Shepherd and the new character Neve. As a fellow Irish person, I respect her. The pacing of this book makes up for Wayward Son so much because I'm like 2/3 of the way through the book and things are still relatively calm, you know? Like it feels like those 400 pages were all exposition. I'm like, okay, I like it. Oh, everything is good in the world. Everything is good. Not in the book. Like, bad things are still happening, but I'm very, very, very invested in them. And I could probably finish it in less than 3 hours at this point. And I just took a nap for 3 hours, so I'm just kind of freaking out, you know? The only thing I think that is making me a little right now is Shepherd. It talks about I don't want to spoil anything. So the first time he mentioned this creature, he was like, I don't really think it has a gender, because like, do these creatures have genders? And Penelope like totally disregards that and like continues to refer to the creature like with she, her pronouns, and then Shepherd starts doing that too. And then like, I don't know, it's kind of weird to me because it's like, we can't let this creature not have a gender. Why does it have to be a girl? I don't know, it just feels kind of heteronormative to me. Or cis-normative, is that a thing?
That was really anticlimactic, but we still have like 70 pages left, so something more has to happen, right? I still have questions. Let me backtrack because I jumped. Bruh. Okay. I'm sorry. This is dumb. This is dumb. I'm sorry, like, it's what I asked for, but not how I wanted it. That's sweet. That's sweet. I like that. That's sweet. That's how it ends. Really? Really, that's how the Simon Snow series ends. Oh my god. Whatever. It's so weird that it's over. Now I have to form some sort of opinion on this entire book and write a review.
Hi, I'm back. Now I get to give you my little review of the entire series. I'm going to review all 3 books separately and then give a little bit of final thoughts. So, Carry On first. I love Carry On to death for nostalgic reasons, but also because I believe it to be Ramble Rowell's best work. Like, I have read almost every single one of her books, but Carry On is by far my favorite. She does an amazing job at developing this very original world of magic and creatures and all that good fantasy jazz, but I think she does the best job at developing these endlessly lovable characters. It is so easy to get lost in these characters' voices and their worlds. There's just as much comedy as there is action, and as there are those dramatic emotional beats. I absolutely love how this book strays from the typical hero's journey and really gives us a nuanced version of this Chosen One tale. Simon Snow has so many insecurities that make him so human, even alongside his immeasurable strength. And Baz is so pitiful that you can't help but root for him. The friendships and relationships are so realistic throughout their struggles and triumphs. The mysteries have you on the edge of your seat the whole time, gasping at every reveal. And the ending is honestly legendary to me. It gets me emotional almost every time. Though it's not perfect, Carry On is a near perfect book, and I definitely recommend it to everyone, which is why I give it 5 stars. It's just a perfect YA novel. It's so much fun. I read it for the first time in middle school, and it introduced me to this really fun world of YA, and I really appreciate that. Really sparking that flame of just loving fictional world, loving fiction. So yeah. And the next book, Wayward Son. The Simon Snow series wasn't actually supposed to be a series, but Ramble Rowell still couldn't let Simon and Baz go, so she published the sequel, Wayward Son, in 2019. I still remember the day she announced she'd be continuing Carry On. Like, I felt like I was going to die from excitement. I remember, like, posting about it on my Instagram story and just totally freaking out about it. Like, none of my followers at school knew what I was talking about, but I was a geek, man. Just geeking. Wayward Son does a great job continuing on the complex characters that made Carry On such a compelling novel. All the characters are still going through their own internal battles that really influence the decisions that they make. In this book, Simon is the pitiful one, and Baz is helplessly going with the flow. The stakes of this book, however, are much lower, or at least they feel a lot lower, and it diminishes the quality of all the action sequences. The pacing in Wayward Son is quite floppy, and that puts the characters in a position where they don't face consequences because they're already moving on to the next threat before processing the last one. We learn more about the magical world, but not as thoroughly as I would have liked to, since we kind of just dabble in multiple different topics but don't go very in depth with any of them. Several plot points are introduced and then just forgotten. The characters in Wayward Son still have a lot of complexity, but the plot doesn't, and that's what makes it feel so much less exciting. The cliffhanger in this book is bad, and I feel like I should dock off an entire star just for that, but I don't. So I give Wayward Son a 3.5. When I first read it, I gave it 3 stars, but I found a lot of things the second time around that I really enjoyed that I think it deserves that 0.5 of a star. Anyway, The Wind Blows came out on July 6th, and it picked up almost right after the end of Wayward Son. It's the conclusion of the Simon Snow series with 575 pages of magical goodness. It continues with what Ramble Rowell does best, write complex characters. Anyway, The Wind Blows is a much slower pace than Wayward Son, and it allows us to really delve into what's truly going on with Simon and Baz beneath the surface. Simon and Baz have been absolutely terrible at communication their entire lives, so this book takes time to break that unhealthy habit in both of them, and I really appreciate it. There is so much fluff, it's suffocating, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Mind you, there is some sexual content in this novel, but like, so if that bothers you, just like skip it, but it's not that much, honestly. Shepard, a new character who was added in Wayward Son, gets some amazing attention, and we really learn a lot about him in this book. At times he does feel like a token black character, but I still think he's well written and incredibly funny and lovable. Now, Anyway the Wind Blows, as the final novel, carried the burden of having to wrap up every single thread left untied in Carry On in Wayward Son, and there were a lot. The problem I have with that is that it waits until the last 150 pages in the book to actually start, like, wrapping things up, and it makes the ending feel extremely rushed. The climax is just bad. Like, there's barely any build-up or payoff, and to be honest, I was intrigued at first, but quickly got bored of the whole Smith-Richards thing. The characters were really split up into three storylines for most of the novel, with Simon and Baz, Penelope and Shepard, and Agatha and Neve. I think that since there were three, like, climaxes, like, that were largely unrelated to each other, the whole ending seemed underwhelming. Agatha and Neve's story, unfortunately, being the worst and least developed of them all. Like, they kept telling me the Watford goats were important, but it sure didn't feel like it. And the ending really didn't feel like the ending to an epic series. Like, there was little to no closure on the prevalent speciesism and inequity for lower caliber magicians in the world of mages, which was a very important theme in all three books that I was excited to explore more, but we kind of didn't. Like, we acknowledged that there was an issue and that the mages think that they're so much better than all the other species on Earth, but like they don't aim to fix it in any way, and that kind of gets on my nerves, and it's kind of just weird, you know, that it feels unfinished in that way. The ending of Simon Snow's story is so rushed. It feels stupid and cheesy and doesn't hold the maturity that the rest of the series had. I wish we could have worked through more of Simon's trauma, which has also been a major part of the whole series. We addressed his insecurity and his romantic relationships, but we didn't get into his past before Watford, or even find out how he truly feels about his background, and didn't even address the insecurities he had with the magic world at the beginning of Anyway the Wind Blows. Anyway the Wind Blows. There was just a lot missing there, and it felt like we were ending the series at a point in which Simon was still not in a healthy place or even on the right track to recovery. Same with Baz's trauma. I would have liked to have seen at least one more scene with his father so they could talk it out for once. Just once, you know, have an actual conversation, but they don't. And Penelope as well. She discovered a lot of flaws within herself in Wayward Son, but doesn't really start to work on improving herself in any way. Agatha as well. Because her ending came so suddenly and without any development whatsoever, it actually feels like the setup for a spin-off series about Agatha and the goats. Which I don't think it is, but there was just no conclusion for her at all, it felt like. So I was like, we're missing a whole chunk of information about Agatha here. Is this a setup for a spin-off or something? Which I highly doubt, by the way. But that's what it felt like. Anyway, The Wind Blows is a great love story. It's amazing on that front, but the plots and threats are just not complex or engaging enough, and I think it's a pretty weak conclusion to this series, so I gave it 3.9 stars. The ending is just so bad that I couldn't bring myself to rate it 4 stars, but the beginning of the book is really strong, and I had an amazing time reading it. So don't get me wrong, it's just 3.9 stars. I can't give it 4 stars. Just the ending is bad. It's bad. Maybe in a couple years I'll reread it and I'll be like, okay, this is better than I thought it was, but right now the ending is just not good enough for me. So 3.9 stars, man. Okay, so the average rating for the entire series is 4.1 stars, which I think is a pretty fair rating. It's a really good series, but there's a lot of things that I don't like about it, so I think 4.1 is a good rating. So this is the part where I go into spoilers, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, just go to this timestamp and then that will be my conclusion. So the spoiler things are kind of ranty that I just wanted to get off my chest because honestly, number one, Sapphic Agatha, Sapphic Agatha, Sapphic Agatha, Sapphic Agatha, okay? Sapphic Agatha is everything I ever needed, but like, come on! Terrible development, like, bad. Agatha and Neve's story is just too out of place and not expanded on enough. Like, why is Agatha good with the goats? Like, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of Agatha taking Eb's place, the woman who sacrificed her life for her. But, like, I would have liked more thought. I would have liked more pages about that, you know? And, like, how long has Neve been interested in Agatha? Like, has she liked her since Watford? Or did she only like her when they were in the car? Or did she only start liking her when she started taking care of the goats? Like, we're missing a lot of romantic things there to just them rushing into a kiss at the end of the story that's out of nowhere, you know? Their kiss is so sudden and weird. Like, y'all was still covered in goat juices. That's not romantic at all. Lucy deserves better. Simon deserves better. He'd barely come to terms with the fact that his mentor had been manipulating him all along, and then he learns that he was his father? Like, that he killed his father without knowing it. That's a big deal. Why did we only get one paragraph about how the mage is so much worse than Simon ever imagined he could be? Like, I feel like we needed to work through that trauma in Simon at least a little bit, because Simon hadn't even come to terms with the fact that the mage was manipulating him his entire life. Like, every time people would be like, hey, Simon, you are a child. Like, you didn't know what you were doing. This is all the mage's fault, honestly. He didn't believe them. And then you're gonna throw the bomb on him that the mage is his father and that the mage is so much worse than he thought he was. Because the mage being his father makes everything worse. That's another thing he lied to Simon about, okay? Simon was left on the streets as an orphan for 10 years before the mage brought him back to Watford to be his wand, basically. Like, that's screwed up. And I like the complexity of that, and I think that was a really interesting choice to make, like, in the story. But then in Any Way the Wind Blows, we don't get any cap on it. We don't get any conclusion. We don't get any hope that, like, I mean, I guess we get the hope that Simon's gonna be okay because he's found his grandma and he's found his uncle, but, like, we don't get any mourning for Lucy. We don't get any, like, anger towards the mage, really, from Simon. Like, he's not angry at the mage. He just doesn't know how to feel about it. I wish we would have been able to work on that trauma more, you know? It's so frustrating how it just ended with Excalibur.
Excalibur, Excalibur, from United King, I'm looking for him, I'm going to California.
Really? The other thing. Now next. They're still creating mage vampire hybrids in America, and we're just supposed to let that slide? I thought it was gonna come back, but it didn't. We never brought it up again. We brought it up in the beginning of Any Way the Wind Blows. Penelope was like, well, eventually we're gonna have to tell my mom that they're creating mage vampire hybrids in America, right? But then they don't. Penny's mom needs to stage an intervention. Honestly, somebody needs to stage an intervention because she was doing too many illegal things and getting away with it. Like, Shepard noticed that, and I appreciate it, but, like, Penny is still too big-headed, and she needs to fix that. Somebody needs to fix that. So yeah, those were my reviews of the Simon Snow series. I still can't believe it's over. I highly recommend it if you're looking for any fun YA fantasy. It's an amazing series. If you don't support Rainbow Rowell for the stuff she's done in her other books, just go to the Harry X Draco tag on AO3 and you'll probably find something similar. So, hope you have a good rest of your day life. Well, like and subscribe, comment your thoughts if you've read the books. I'm gonna go read some reviews now because I haven't read any Way the Wind Blows reviews because I didn't want them to like sway my opinion, but now I'm gonna go read some reviews. We'll see. Bye!
Excalibur? Excalibur? Are you kidding me?